3. I remember thinking that exact way, you know, and having that exact problem. And it doesn't mean you can even help them. You know, it's not like you can tell them like, oh, well, this will solve everything. It's like, nah, you just got to work through that and live it. You know, hang in there, buddy. Good luck.
You're like, it'll be a few years. You're going to encounter life moment X, and then you'll feel closer to thing I'm saying.
And it'll all work out. It'll all come together.
Oh, this is weird.
I've been having fun digitizing old cassettes.
I went through that last year with all my VHSs. I haven't gone back and mined all that. I think that might be Penny's job for the year after. Like, I haven't told her yet, but I'm trying to think of like, what is a Penny-shaped set of projects? And by the way, are we live, Ryan? Oh, we are live? Okay, cool. Awesome. Then I don't know why I'm not connected. No, this is fine. Nobody tell my daughter.
Like if Penny didn't know that was going to be her project.
Well, I think she'll really enjoy the emotionally detached job of social media manager, like making sure all of the feeds are, because it's like, I've got 20 years of content and everything before I got on the map is now novel old, where it's like, here's the first time Brian did this show.
Yeah. Whatever. I'm digging through all my old radio air checks.
You're playing those on the show, right? On the live stream?
Yes, I have played some of them on the show. Yeah. And I intend to play more of them. But it's really fun. I kind of want to order a couple up the next time I talk about it, because you can hear me lose my accent.
Oh, really? You used to have an accent?
Yeah. You want to hear it?
Yes, I do.
Hold on. Let me figure out the best way.
By the way, everybody in vaudeville, sorry, we're starting a little bit late. Enjoy this special report. World exclusive.
Yeah, let me find this. Yeah, I think this one will work. You won't be able to hear it yet, but give me a second.
Hey, Ryan,
here we go.
Okay,
ready?
Here, while you're playing that, I'm going to lift this camera just a touch.
Sure.
Oh, okay. I will wait till you lift the camera because I want to see your face. This is from January 1986.
All right.
Here we go.
We'll be closed all day January 9th.
We are here at 155 WGEL, the best country in the country. Like to remind you of tonight's game. Mike Stacklin will be announcing Salem at the Greenville Comets tonight, brought to you in part by Genry's, Tri-Ford, Circle B, Western Steakhouse, H&H Office Environments, and Lynn's True Value. Now, Stack, right before he left, he was on before me, told me to leave this and dedicate it to John Goldsmith. Here's Lee Greenwood and Fool's Gold.
That's amazing. Tom, that was what a journey. It was like, it was you, and then it was not you, and then it was way not you, and then it was you.
And the fun thing is, like, then I go to this cable college station, and it's like, I kind of sound like a radio DJ. And then I go to my WPGU, like commercial radio stuff, and it's like, oh, yeah, no, that's a totally different guy.
Yeah. It's really hard to... in the office hours, I'm dipping back to watch some of the early BB Live show stuff. And it's frustrating to be frustrated with 20 years ago me stammering and stuttering while I'm stammering and stuttering in present tense. It's like, you never got better at that, did you?
It's crazy how many things, like I listened to this, me interviewing my grandpa in 1984. Mm-hmm. And part of me is like, come on, man, just ask a follow-up question. But then every once in a while, I would do a good interview thing that I still do. And I'm like, oh, I guess I knew how to do that naturally, even back then. That's amazing.
That is a great moment when you're cheering for past you to do a thing and then they do it.
Yeah. And then, and then I'm trying to make jokes and I'm like, that's not, I guess for a 14-year-old, that's funny. But,
Every so often, past Brian has a zinger that I approve of.
Yeah.
Here.
All right.
Okay. Are we ready?
I am.
Here, everybody.
Ready.
Here's a whiteboard everyone can draw on. Enjoy.
Tellustrate me.
Set me straight. Okay. Oh,
You're going to leave that up for the whole show?
No, I don't think so. But that is pretty. There we go.
That's pretty fun.
There, you
I like it.
put that on there for a second. You can even zoom in and out of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. My doodles aren't showing up yet.
Oh, why is my... I put that green stripe in there that's purple,
Yeah.
but it's green on my...
Oh, because it's reversed.
It
So it's like the
reverses?
black is
okay.
white,
Yeah.
green is purple, all that stuff.
Up is down.
Black is white, day is night. Why are my doodads not showing up? Interesting.
There's a big delay there. Mine took a
and
few
having
seconds.
that exact problem, and it doesn't mean you can even help them. You know, it's not like you can tell
Why
them
am I
like,
hearing
oh, well, this will solve everything. It's like, nah, you just got to work through that and live it. You know,
I think
hang
that's
in there,
the
buddy.
restream.
Good luck.
You're like, it'll be a few years.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
gonna
We're hearing the
encounter
stream
life moment X,
coming
and then
back
you'll
to us.
feel
Yeah. Stream is
closer
paused.
to thing I'm
shouldn't
saying.
be
It'll
anything.
all
It'll
closer to
work
thing
out.
I'm saying.
It'll all come together. It's YouTube.
Oh, this is
There we go. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
we got the wiggles out.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
All right.
My money don't wiggle. It folds.
Was that John Ronson?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Welcome to Cordkillers. Please come in. We know the world of entertainment is turned upside down, but it's not our fault, okay? We're trying to fix it. I'm Tom Merritt. Where's the good stuff, Brian?
We're all trying to find the guys who killed Cable. As best we can tell, it happened somewhere around 2009 or so.
I
Anyway,
think we need Jessica on this one.
as you can see for the video viewers, both Tom and I are calling in from an Illinois prison where we're being wrongfully accused of having killed the Cords.
It's night and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
I actually meant our Oxford shirts that we're both wearing. We do straight out of Shawshank Redemption.
This is my sushi shirt.
Ah.
Yeah. Got sushi on the back. So now it's time for the search party.
Yeah.
Or supply run. Maybe the supply run. Let's do the supply run first.
You're really trying to mess with Ryan.
Sorry, Ryan. Long-time followers of Cordkillers know that I enjoy watching the live stream of Coachella. I've followed its journey from being on Xbox to YouTube, having like tape delays, and now they just basically give you all the stages live on YouTube for nothing. During the live stream next week, YouTube is going to experiment with something it's calling stations. Now, these won't be part of the live performance stream, but when your favorite artist isn't live, you can go to one of these stations and they're going to let the artist or the artist staff program a channel that will just stream whatever videos and performances they want. So like past music videos, maybe past live performances that they have the rights to. You can now do this on YouTube yourself if you want to host all the videos and play them off your own PC. Like you could use OBS or something to create a live stream, but this is going to be different because it will let them just pull things in from their channel into a playlist, and it will act like a live stream instead of like a playlist. So if somebody joins, they don't join at the top of the playlist, they join it wherever you are in the live stream. So it doesn't need your direct maintenance. If it goes well, it will be expanded to select creators after Coachella and eventually everybody on YouTube. Brian, is this just kind of a like, oh, obvious thing feature, or am I right in suspecting there's something kind of cool about this that could change the way I watch YouTube?
This is, I believe, going to be huge. I think that this is a tiny design nudge that everybody can shrug and everybody can rightfully point and say, well, technically, nothing's different. You could always do this with a PC
You
or
could
whatever.
always do that.
Just like nobody at OpenAI thought it was significant that they had a one-button access to a little thing called ChatGPT, because technically nothing changed. It's the same thing. You could
always
used
do
to blah,
this.
blah, 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 with extra steps. But removing that friction alters things. And another comp that comes to mind is the YouTube Shorts policy. In Shorts, if your short is less than 1 minute long, you are, depending on how your channel is classified, 100% allowed to put copyrighted material in that short. because the shorts go into a bucket, it's more like radio where there's an ad, some programs, and then an ad, and they split up that ad revenue. So they just make sure that they cut in the copyright holder, and then whether it's music or whatever. What that functionally does is it makes possible a new type of entertainer, something closer to somebody who does a trance DJ set or an EDM musician or what have you. Now, all of a sudden, let's take Coachella in particular. Right now, let's say there's eight? Let's say there's 8 feeds from Coachella. If it's all in ecosystem, something like this would allow anybody to take in all of those feeds and just cut to them. Remember we were singing the praises of Gold Zone, where everything should be that during the Olympics? Now, this is being democratized so that the populace, anybody can be a remix artist, a VJ. Anybody can be world renowned for their hot takes right up to the minute and for their ability to back up Scrub and say, no. Look at the positioning on the guitar solo for this one thing. That's revolutionary because of this. And then you get reacts videos from qualified experts in their domains. This is a big deal, in my opinion.
Yeah, there were 2 immediate uses that I thought I would put this to. The first is I've got 12 years worth, almost 11 and a half years worth of Daily Tech News Show episodes on my YouTube channel. I have thought in the past, hey, wouldn't it be fun? It's 2026. Let's do a 2016 channel where you can go and just watch old Daily Tech News shows and be like, what was the tech news 10 years ago, as a kind of a nostalgia play? Because otherwise that's all disposable, right? It's news. But if you look at it historically, then it's kind of fun. And we looked into doing it, and it's like, well, we'd have to download them all, and we'd have to have a machine dedicated to it, and we'd have to do a playlist and monitor it. And in the end, we're like, how many people are we really going to get to watch this that would make it worth all that trouble? Maybe not enough. And so we didn't do it. With this, I can just put a filter out and go find everything we posted from 2016, put it in a playlist, make it a live channel, and have effectively got the same thing. If I want to put more effort into it, I can do little intros and things like you're talking about, where I can, make commentary and in between pieces and all of that. Suddenly it's like, oh, this is worth doing, because maybe it takes off, but it doesn't have to for it to be worth the effort, because I don't have to do ongoing maintenance on it. And the other thing I want to do with it is be a DJ. I've been waiting for someone to come up with a usable platform where I can, without violating copyrights or without having to go and negotiate my own rights, things like Brian Ibbett does, just say, hey, I want to play a bunch of songs together and play DJ sometimes. And this would let me do that too.
Yeah. And right now, it's not entirely clear. There's a lot of squinting when it comes to what's in and out of bounds. Boy, would I love it if I could just say this Friday, 5 p.m., Brian's going to make no money on this live stream. We're just going to take a tour of 1998 music videos that were directed by these people or whatever. And
yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately, I don't know that advertising flagrant copyright violation, because the way it happens right now is you're doing news, something gets flagged. I think we did a Cordkillers story where I streamed a bit of the NFL with Simpsons characters on it. And as I was doing it, I thought, there is no way this survives. And sure enough, no, it got taken down, and I had to later hit erase. But I don't know, it is not clear whether or not if I announced that's what I was going to do for 2 hours, that would be a flagrant misuse and get me on a naughty list or something. So anything that reeks of a blessing.
Playlist channel, and again, we have to see how it works, because maybe it won't work the way I'm imagining it, but I can bring in the music videos from their legally hosted channel and put them in my playlist that streams live on my channel, but they're getting the credit for that stream. I'm not copying it, because the way I have to do it now, where I host it locally on OBS, I have to illegally copy it, or at least infringe their copyright. Maybe it's not illegal, maybe it's a fair use, but I have to infringe copyright to do it. This way I wouldn't. I would just be pointing at the original source within the YouTube environment, which gives me a lot more flexible creativity.
I adore that I would like them to get to a built-in structure for this to work as soon as possible. because we've done so much of what is happening now 10 years ago was presaged by what we were able to do in bootlegs. We were just trying to figure out, in the beginning, nobody was paying attention to Ustream. So BB Live Show played a whole bunch of copyrighted stuff. Didn't matter, right? And then we got shut down and kicked out. And then here we are 10, 12 years later, where all of a sudden it's like, no, doors are open again, which is great. But meanwhile, of course, Brian is trying to peak on what else can he do? Which, by the way, every single day on office hours, we revisit a classic episode of Scam School. We do Scam School, where we're just playing copyrighted content that whatever, monetized, not monetized, that's not the point. The point is, with the recency bias, I want to celebrate that back catalog and keep it alive.
Yeah. I suspect that if they make this widespread and make it easy and don't put too many restrictions on it, you'll see some really creative stuff come out of it. And it actually could be used to sort of be a hedge against some of the more sloppy channels out there that are getting around copyright restrictions by doing low effort generated stuff, because there's not much else to choose from. And if I just want to throw something else up, I'll just throw up this jazz, quote unquote. But if it's like, oh, instead of the low effort sloppy jazz, I actually get a curated live stream of like high quality bebop, with occasional commentary from somebody who really knows it. Suddenly that's way more valuable, and it's way easier for someone to do that.
It also opens up the possibility for right now, the technological hurdles to doing anything that involves a lot of humans that's interesting requires massive resources. For example, let's say you're doing a World Series of Poker thing. There's right now, the affordable way to do it is to just have the live event. And then if somebody with money wants to come in, they decide where the cameras are, they decide their curation or whatever. A more effective thing would be, here are all the hidden camera feeds or whatever. These are all going to go out. All of you self-organize. Who wants to plant a flag and have your own commentary feed, and who do you want to follow or whatever? And then it's like, we don't care. Our job is to have the event and allow the feeds to go out. What you guys decide, let the market decide whether this is we're cheering for this person or against this person, or whether this person was robbed and maybe this person's cheating. You guys do all those stories.
I hadn't even thought about this till we were talking just now, but it is the perfect embodiment of fair use, right? If I'm within the YouTube universe and I pull in the Texas Poker original feed, I'm not copying it. I'm pulling it from them. But then if I add my commentary, that is a fair use, because commentary is a fair use. But I don't even have to worry about it because they're getting credit for their stream. I'm getting credit for my commentary. It's pretty brilliant.
Well, and it smooths out the arguing over licensing fees. Right now, just copyright is such a blunt tool. And meanwhile, there's such interesting, nuanced ways to split up the pie. I am hopeful that this opens the door to a lot of interesting opportunities. Cordkillers@gmail.com, though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the very easy analysis is, they'll keep this too restricted, or they'll put too many caveats on how you can use it and it won't become useful. And you may be right. But I think Brian and I are both looking at it like, man, if they do this right, there could be some really cool stuff come out of it.
Yeah.
Nothing quite as cool as our Patreon, though.
Oh, my goodness. The Patreon is so cool. I am certain that nothing will ever change in it. That's why everyone should, without reservations, go to patreon.com/cordkillers. Take it from your pal, Brian. We will never change the way we monetize this program. Certainly not later this year. And by the way, in the meantime, thank you to everybody who's taken a look at what they're pledging and noticing that inflation has happened. Thank you. Hundreds of people have raised their pledges, and we'd like you, some of you, we'd like you to go from 0 to something. That'd be great. And I'll tell you what, we'll throw something in the bargain. We'll give you your own RSS feed, and you'll get early access to the full experience. No ads, unlike all those normies out there, and you'll get exclusive access to our After Talk segment.
Yeah, I know some of you love hearing an ad. You know, you're always excited to hear that ad. That'll still be there for you. But if you're like, I'm the weirdo who doesn't like the ads, we got a special place for you. Patreon.com/cordkillers. Let's move on to the search party. I'm going to admit something right up top here, Brian. I have a note in here in the rundown that says Beef Season 2 premieres April 16th. That's 9 days from when we're recording this on Netflix. And there was a trailer, and I linked to it, and I remember watching the trailer. I can't tell you anything about what was in the trailer off the top of my head. I'm not sure what that says about Beef Season 2.
I watched it more recently than you, which means I have about 20 more minutes of a vague memory of, yep, pretty much White Lotus. I didn't really see the beef part of Beef, but rich people, golf, tennis club, cheating board, housewife, young, old. It's Beef.
People catching other people doing something and promising they won't tell.
Yeah.
I sort of remember that in there. I have a feeling this will be fun. I really liked Beef Season 1. The problem with a show like Beef is part of the fun of Season 1 was the unexpected nature of it, right? You didn't really know where it was going.
Yeah, that one was, its main trick was extreme escalation, right?
Yes, exactly. It started with somebody backing up and taking a parking space, right? Pretty mundane. And it just kept escalating. And you were like, how far can this go? This doesn't, from the trailer, seem to be that. But maybe there's some old magic in that old silk hat they're going to throw in front of us on April 6th.
That's what they said at church.
Yes. The live-action Dungeon Crawler Carl TV series is now officially in development. It's gone from optioned to in development. That means we're 50% chance of getting it. Once you're in development, you're putting some resources behind it, so you got a better chance than just an option, but not everything that's in development makes it. However, it is in development at Peacock, according to Variety. Chris Yost is going to write and executive produce the series. Seth MacFarlane executive producing under his Fuzzy Door banner, and Matt Dinneman, the author of the Dungeon Crawler Carl books, is also an executive producer, as is Fuzzy Door's Erica Huggins. I'm a big fan of these. I know you tried them, but didn't really get sucked in yet.
Not yet.
I wonder if maybe it's better for you to just hold off and watch the Peacock series should one end up coming out of this.
You know, it's every night I go to bed and there's a little vial of crack cocaine and everyone says, it's great. You should try it. Once you try it, you'll not be able to stop. And I'm like, I believe you. I'll get around to it. And then I pick it up and I sniff and then something distracts me. And it's like, I know it's there. I know I'm going to become one of you pod people. It's going to be great. I'll join Pluribus. It'll be awesome.
New achievement. Brian resisted listening to Dungeon Crawler Carl.
The hero refuses the call yet again.
Amazon's MGM Studios has set Mel Brooks' long-awaited Spaceballs sequel to debut just about a year from now, April 23rd, 2027. And as we talked about before, Rick Moranis coming out of not exactly retirement, but not acting, to reprise his role as Lord Darkhelmet. Bill Pullman as Lone Star, Daphne Zuniga as Princess Vespa, George Weiner as Colonel Sanders, and Brooks returns as Yogurt, the yoga-like character of Spaceballs.
I'm going to throw a wild pitch out there. I'm going to place a bet. I'm going to stake my claim. I think there'll be a 3-minute segment in which, I kid you not, we will be made to cry because there'll be a loving tribute to John Candy in the middle of it.
I would not take that bet. I would not bet against you.
It'll stir all your lost puppy dog feelings and also your John Candy feelings and also your, oh my God, we really love Mel Brooks feelings. And it'll give you an excuse to just burst into tears. And we'll all be surprised that in this big funny movie, there was that part that gut punched us.
And honestly, because it's the second movie, which would then want to take some cues from Empire Strikes Back, we probably say goodbye to Yogurt.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that would be Return of the Jedi, though, actually, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But you know what? It's probably a good idea to say goodbye to Yogurt.
He's all but announced that he'll be dead and it'll be AI, but he'll be in the third one.
Yeah. And that's how they'll do it, right? They'll say goodbye in the third one.
God, Mel Brooks, what a legend. What a legend.
I was going to say, I wouldn't bet against him. The chances are he won't be around for a third one, but I mean, you make it to 99, I guess anything's possible.
Yeah.
Or statistically speaking, like you only have minutes left.
Yeah. It is funny because like on paper, it's extremely unlikely that you and I will both hit 98. But if we're both 97, it's extremely likely that at least one of us will be there next year.
We'll be there for 90.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I don't understand, Brian. 99-year-old Mel Brooks can come back as Yogurt, but Viggo Mortensen is not allowed to reprise his role as Aragorn in the Andy Serkis Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum. Serkis is directing the movie and confirmed that they will be recasting Aragorn in the next Middle-earth movie. The only other actor announced to be joining The Hunt for Gollum is Kate Winslet. Elijah Wood and Ian McKellen are rumored to return to reprise their roles as Frodo Baggins and Gandalf. Elijah Wood has said no one else is allowed to play Frodo Baggins, but that has not yet been confirmed. But it sounds like they're at least toying with the idea of bringing back other characters. They're just not bringing back Viggo.
Tom, I'm assuming that Viggo couldn't get paid enough to make this a primary project for him, or what do you think?
That could be an answer. Another answer could be, we want to do the following with this character. And Viggo, who, when I last saw him at Casa Vega here in Los Angeles, which is a real thing that happened, looked a little older than Aragorn. Now, you can do a lot with makeup, you can do a lot with body doubles and everything, but maybe he was just like, you know what? Let a younger guy do that. That's a lot of work.
So let me throw this at you. I was imagining, like, okay, he doesn't want to do it. Negotiations broke down, something. And I just pictured a Bob Odenkirk-like agent character saying, you know what? If it's so important that you have him, you could have the AI version of him. Do whatever you want. It'll cost this much. And then that suddenly opened up all the reasons people would say no to that. And then, in my imagination, I wanted to rub that made-up scenario in the face of anyone who feels threatened by AI. It's like, well, why not? Isn't it technically better that it's what, blah, 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 blah? Anyway, all humans care about is other humans.
I thought you were going to go into that. And Andy Serkis is a hypocrite because Gollum was entirely computer generated.
Oh, no. Wouldn't it be great is if all of a sudden he goes like totally naturopath and it's like all of a sudden it's a literal Andy Serkis just in a Gollum costume and everyone's like, what's going on? And he's like, isn't this what you wanted?
It's Gollum's. It's the realness. It's the practicals. And it's better than that. Lord of the Flies coming to Netflix. New series based on the novel May 4th. Trailer out for that. And looks to be trying to be faithful to the original material. Did you check it out?
It looks fine. Has there ever been a video or film adaptation of Lord of the Flies that was particularly good? I think there was one in the early 90s that when I was at the movie theater, when I was working there.
I know there have been, but I can't remember.
None have made a big impression on us, I guess.
There was a 1963 film directed by Peter Brook, and there was a 1990 film, which is probably the one you're recalling, that was directed by Harry Hook. Peter Brook and Harry Hook. Those are two totally different people. And then finally, Netflix has titled its upcoming third season of One Piece, The Battle of Alabasta, and ordered a 2-episode animated Lego retelling of the first 2 seasons that will come to Netflix on September 29th.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's
season 3 coming next year, but this sort of like extended previously on, but told through Legos is coming September 29th.
No, I think that's a brilliant idea, and I could see that totally taking off because we don't just want old clips, but we don't mind seeing a modality shift. Like everybody's lining up to go watch Moana again. Spoiler, same thing, same animated chicken, but it's a slightly different frame around it. And the Lego frame is a really good one. It implies a little bit of self-aware, peppy, upbeat comedy, jaunty animation. This is great. It's brilliant.
And you get through an entire season in one episode. You can just like be ridiculously fast with things. And then this happened, you know, and everybody who loves One Piece feels like they're getting something new, but also they're in on the joke because they know the story already. And it's, I think that's pretty great. And One Piece is incredibly popular. So a good franchise for Netflix to do it with. All right, my friend, it is time for the buried treasure.
Ooh.
Most people want to know why they suddenly got rich.
Buried treasure.
This is the segment of the show where we talk about something we've been watching to kind of give you an idea of maybe something you'd like to watch. Brian, start us off.
Yeah. So, by the way, your pick is better. I also did your pick, but I'm more excited about yours than my own. Penny was in town, and so we watched the rest of Wonder Man season 1, which I get to say because there'll be a season 2 because Von Kovac found his masterpiece. You know how like Andor, you're just blown away, and then you go back, and then on a second viewing, there's so much detail that you missed the first time, and it's a richer experience.
Yeah, because it's so good that you actually find out like, oh, it wasn't just I liked it the first time around. It actually had depth to it, and I can find more.
Yes.
Is that if I get you right?
Yes. Wonder Man is great. Everyone should watch it. And part of the delight of Wonder Man is the surprise of it massively over-delivering on your expectations. The second time around, there's not much there beneath the excellent performances of the actors.
Okay.
Which you could appreciate and be like, yeah, but it's more in an academic, like, no, Ben Kingsley's really good. These guys are great.
Yeah. One of the things we do on the Sword and Laser podcast is talk about doorways into the story. I've mentioned this before on the show. And it sounds like we're talking about the video version of that. Like if your doorway is acting, if what you love when you watch a movie or TV show is to enjoy the acting, then Wonder Man is great. You're going to enjoy a second watching because you dig deeper into the acting. But if your doorway is story, then not as strong because you're finding it didn't have as much depth.
Yeah. And in fact, boy, the one episode that's self-contained where it is more story-driven, I didn't love it the first time. I really didn't love it the second time.
You loved it even less the second time.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. The thing that Brian was alluding to that I've been watching, I've been glued to, it's become my morning ritual, my afternoon ritual is the live stream of the mission coverage of NASA's Artemis 2. You can get it on YouTube. I'm watching it right now on my iPad as we're doing the show. They're not doing anything right now. You just see a live shot of the moon as it recedes in the distance behind the spacecraft that is coming back to Earth.
It's a rear view mirror cam. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, when it started, I watched the launch. I was very excited for the launch and that everything went well. And then they have two feeds. They have one that's a live feed from the actual spacecraft itself. So whatever cameras are broadcasting back from outside and occasionally inside, they'll stream that. But that doesn't have commentary. That just has the communications. Whereas their actual live coverage, like in the morning when the crew is asleep, and you're like, man, there's really nothing different on the cameras than there was the last time I looked. They'll kind of redo coverage or they'll do interviews, give you deep dives into what's been happening in the last mission day, kind of catch you up. I have to give NASA, the comms team there, a huge compliment on the coverage. It's been wonderful to just kind of dip into that, to where I switched from the live like camera on the craft itself to pretty much living with the live mission coverage, because they do a great job of balancing like, oh, when something interesting is happening live, we're going to just show you that and give you the mission control feed. But at other times we'll do things that are actually useful in helping you understand what's been going on when, you were asleep or other things have been happening. And of course, there's the reason I'm so excited about this is human beings going in orbit of the moon for the first time since I was 2 years old is I think huge. And I'm very excited to see that happen again.
Yeah. How does it feel to be an actual person in the future, actually participating in an actual iteration of the Truman Show, where you're just watching other people in a bubble, and then the moment it gets boring, people pull out and they talk about other things that are interesting to the people in the bubble? How wild.
Yeah. I know, right? And in space.
Yeah, right?
Let's just tack that on to the end of it. No, yesterday was the best. Just the focused mission, the demonstration of the fact that when you have a human looking at something, you're going to perceive it. You're going to call out details that you can't from a remote feed. The astronauts were trained to become amateur geologists as part of this mission. They were trained to become amateur photographers and videographers as part of this mission, and it shows. They have a room full of scientists. Their whole job is to advise them on science, and the astronauts would say something and you'd see them all like jump up and clap because they're like, oh, they're describing a geological formation we want to know the answer to, and they noticed it, and they're seeing part of the moon that we've never seen before. It's just fantastic. I've loved every second of it. I know you've been watching it too.
Yeah, well, I'm mainly just the launch and then the news feed as it came out. I did worthy of note, the internet, boots on the ground report, Tom. It's Brian live from Twitter. Twitter is still Twitter. We have facts of that. So 20 years ago, James Cameron did a guest article in Wired magazine, and he pointed out that, basically in Brian Brushwood's living lifetime, not one human beheld all of Earth at once, because when you're at low Earth orbit, it's like having your face against a basketball. And in the article, he says, nobody has done it. And he says, in parentheses, and think about this, no woman has ever done it. And so when that moonshot photo, the blue orb photo came out, I tweeted out, today is the very first day that a woman has beheld all of planet Earth. The internet, it turns out it was a perfect Rorschach test. Whatever you wanted to tell on yourself about, whether it was power, status, privilege, politics, everybody showed up. It was a crazy wake-up call.
Yeah, I am less and less interested in posting those kinds of things for that reason. And that's not me saying don't post them, but I find myself coming to that like, hey, I want to say this. And then I'm like, oh, and what's going to happen is I will get all those responses and then I won't feel great about that. Maybe I'll just say it in this group chat, maybe I'll just say it to my friend.
Well, and it's too bad because I feel like that robs so many humans of the good stuff. Like you'll notice if you have a technological problem with your car, a Google search will take you without doubt to a forum, and all news ends in 2012. And then that's when all forums went away. And then at that point, Reddit takes over. And now Reddit is all just bot soup. And so I don't know where humans want to be caught on the record anymore.
Gemini.
Oh,
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Claude.
Yeah.
Would
you allow
we're
a
still
checkbox?
making content. Honestly, the answer to that specific question is YouTube. There is a vlogger on YouTube who said, oh, I know how to fix this. I will make a video for it. I will put it up. And yes, people will say stupid things in the comments, but I won't care. And it will be a popular video that you will then be able to pull up in Gemini.
How long do you think it'll be, Tom, before there's a little checkbox on your favorite AI bot that says enable gossip? And when you check it, you get to know what quote unquote people are saying, but everything will be forever. But it's allowed to talk about you.
Oh, it's like the TripAdvisor summary, but for you.
Yeah. Or whatever it is you're asking about.
Or whatever. Yeah.
If it's totally anonymized, that'd be fascinating.
Yeah. What people are saying is kind of hits different than, oh, actual person wrote this to me right now.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, if you have something interesting, let us know what it is. Cordkillers@gmail.com. Brian, what you got going on these days?
Oh my gosh, dude, it's coming up sooner than I expected. Somebody asked, hey, is there any live in-person things that are going on that I could come out to? And I thought, well, like a dozen people are coming out on Saturday for a Founders Day sort of acknowledgement. There's no show, there's no event. We're going to play, I don't know, the dozen of us will play Skull, but then Jomo and the Possum Posse are playing over in Driftwood, so we'll go see them.
Oh, that's nice.
But that's just this Saturday. I was thinking the big thing, Tom, is we're doing the Do Your Weird Thing workshop, and we're doing it right at Wizard Academy. If you head on over to wizardacademy.org, you're gonna hop on a plane, you're gonna come out, you're gonna bring your missus, your significant other, because you get to bring a +1 for free. You get catered meals, unlimited beer and wine to start serving at 8:30 in the morning. Call it Purple Coffee. 3 nights of accommodations at a lovely top-tier, gorgeous retreat. You'll get to come see the entire class where Tom and me and friends are going to spill the tea on how we pulled off whatever it was we pulled off as independent creators in an increasingly strange and distorted marketplace. It's going to be great.
Come on out. It's right there on campus, June 23rd, 24th. There's just a few seats left. So you want to get over there, wizardacademy.org. Let us now scan the horizon. Amen.
Send a scanning to avoid.
Scanning the horizon!
So I get the feeling that Netflix, without making as big of a deal as you might expect, wants to be seen as a developer of frontier models that do actual things that people who make TV and movies will want them to do. Not slop, but tools. Netflix debuted Void, a vision language model that can erase objects from a scene and then simulate how the remaining objects would behave without those things there. So they gave a bunch of examples of, like, you could have two cars hit each other, but then you could take one of the cars out of the scene and it would be able to simulate the other car driving without hitting that car. And I'm like, okay, that's impressive that it could do that. That really doesn't work as a practical example for something you'd want to do. Like, why did you run the two cars into each other if you just wanted to erase it? So I thought of this. You're doing a pool scene and a mic stand falls over into the water. And it splashes everywhere and causes waves in the water. And the main take is fine, but you see all these waves and stuff. This could get rid of the mic stand and therefore get rid of all the ripples so that the pool remains calm. That's not a like earth-shattering use case, but it works for me to be like, oh, that would be useful as an editor and producer to be like, I don't have to reshoot that scene. That was the one I wanted from the actors. I can now use Void to just take that out.
Yeah, I think that this is both a new wave of useful tools, but also a release as PR smoothing. Because in the beginning, look, Hollywood built an incredible, astonishing content creation machine with a lot of weird negative externalities to it. It chews up young, beautiful people and spits them out. But we don't want our actor. We don't love our actors because they have engineering degrees. We love them because they're good at acting. All of a sudden, AI comes and all they see is problems. And I think that Netflix is doing a good job of helping to sell solutions. What's a way this could be helpful to you in your storytelling? And I think recently, didn't OpenAI announce some new like cinematography gear that allows for like massive collection of data that could be processed later? Or maybe that was just a rumor that I heard about.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah,
no.
I think I read a rumor about like camera equipment that essentially just grabs all the raw data, and then after the fact, you could decide, have it be this lens, have it be this
camera
shot,
angle,
have it be,
yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I like that. Although OpenAI is getting out of video generation, so I'm not sure if that piece of equipment, if it is true, where it ends up. But yeah, I think you're right. I think Netflix is trying to say, hey, we are trying to make tools that are useful for you. We want to be seen as that. And I don't have this in the rundown, but the Writers Guild of America made a deal a month before their contract was out with the major studios. So we were all gearing up to be like, okay, we're going to have another long drawn out negotiation, could end up in a strike. And then Writers Guild was like, we got a deal. In your court, SAG-AFTRA, see if the actors, everybody's like, well, I guess SAG-AFTRA is probably going to come to a deal now too. We'll find out. But it does feel like nobody wants to have that big knockdown, drag out fight anymore. And while there aren't any details that I've seen yet, it sounds like the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers said, here's a bunch of money for your healthcare plan. Can we just leave things as they are until next time and then deal with it then? And I could see the Writers Guild saying, yeah, things are moving fast. We need the money for the healthcare. So sure, we'll talk again in 4 years.
Yeah. I would also imagine that the fear is reduced now in a way, what was it, 2, 3, 4 years ago? Perhaps the fear is just below the threshold of action, and enough people who are at the lower rungs of the Hollywood ladder are now seeing, well, I could release my script as an independent film if I were to use these tools. And so now it's harder to just knee-jerk anti-AI than it used to be.
Not impossible that some people negotiated for things in the last deal and then found out that those were things that were not the right things, the most important things to negotiate for. And so because of that are like, well, let's not put ourselves in the same situation. Let's see where this all goes first before we negotiate. Like, you can never do this. And then it turns out, well, that never was going to happen, but we didn't negotiate for the thing that was going to happen, and we should have. So, Google Cast support rolling out to Samsung TVs, not just the newest ones, older Samsung TVs as well. So if you use Google Cast, you'll be able to cast from your Android device to the Samsung TV. Starting Wednesday, April 1st, Tubi added 250 episodes of Sesame Street, spanning from the beginning of the series to season 38. Episodes of the show will be available on Tubi, including Gordon Introduces Sally to Sesame Street, the very first episode from 1969. Maria and Luis Get Married from 1988. R2-D2 and C-3PO showing up on Sesame Street in 1980. Big Bird Going to Hawaii, which was the first on-location shoot for Sesame Street in 1978. Netflix still has the deal with Sesame Workshop for global streaming rights to current season episodes. There's also some library content on YouTube. But this is an expansion and pretty interesting for Sesame Workshop to be like, yeah, we've got a huge library of content. Let's monetize it in all the different ways we can.
Yeah, I would imagine that there's some version of the Commons where it is profitable for Children's Television Workshop to, like, that old back catalog you could only monetize so hard via exclusivity. But on the flip side of essentially making it very easy for a lot of people to add to their catalog, then that old stuff becomes an advertisement for the new stuff, and you get the brand elevation as a result.
I don't know if this plays a part, but I wonder if the fact that Tubi is ad-supported and free makes it easier to make these kinds of deals for back catalog stuff. There's always a cost to hosting something, so I'm not trying to pretend like, hey, it's free, and if nobody watches it, no harm. So they obviously don't want to host things that nobody is ever going to watch. But in a Netflix situation, Netflix is like, well, we're using this as a retention play or attracting new subscribers. But once they're subscribers, we don't make any more money off them unless they're on the ad-supported tier. Whereas Tubi says every time somebody watches a Sesame Street video, then we're going to make more money off of it. And so I could see it being easier to construct a deal for back catalog that says, we'll give you this much for the back catalog, but if you reach this threshold of streams, we're going to be making more money off the ads. And so we'll give you a little more money, in which case Sesame Workshop may be willing to sell it at a lower price because there is a potential higher upside.
Yeah. I guess the way I would express the same sentiment is it seems like a self-correcting gamble where if it's above the threshold of profitability, congrats, there's a pie to split. And if it's not, then you just don't renew.
Yeah. And again, I don't know if that's the deal they reached, but I could see that being a possibility. If you're wondering like, wait, why doesn't Netflix have the back catalog, right? YouTube is hosting its Brandcast on May 13th at the Lincoln Center. The event will be hosted by Trevor Noah, YouTube CEO Neil Mohan, and Google President Sean Downey are going to demonstrate how, quote, YouTube is not only the #1 streamer in the United States, but the future of media. Also happening around the same time, NBC Universal going to Radio City Music Hall for its upfronts on May 11th, which is the same day that Amazon is doing theirs at the Beacon Theater. Warner Brothers Discovery had previously planned an upfront for May 13th, but they did that before Paramount agreed to acquire the whole company, so that could change. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a headline that rarely ages well. #1 dominant player in space announces they are the future. Very rarely does that age well.
Yeah, true. But anyway, the point of the whole exercise there is the upfronts are coming up, and guess what? Streamers are as big, if not the bigger part of it. It used to be the story on Cordkillers like, ooh, streaming platforms are doing upfronts. Isn't that interesting? Banijay is launching the Black Mirror experience starting in Montreal in May. The studio describes it as an interactive virtual reality experience that will blend physical space and VR to blur the lines of fiction and reality in which you become the main character. It's a 60-minute experience. You can do it yourself or you can do it with a group up to 6 people.
I'll tell you what, as a bit of performance art, what I want to do is open an alternative Black Mirror experience. And what you do is you walk through just a metal detector and then you ask, when does it begin? And it's like, you'll know it when you see it. And then you get in your car and then you start noticing that you've already been living in it the entire time.
Just look around and see if people are looking down at little black mirrors more often than they're looking around the world around them. Finally, end of an era, Brian. I have been trying doggedly to follow the fight for survival of the regional sports network group that has gone under many names, most recently Main Street Sports Group. You might remember it as Diamond Sports Group, the owner of the once Bally's branded regional sports networks, more recently FanDuel branded sports networks, will officially wind down operations at the end of the NHL season. Once it's done airing its final games and the first round Stanley Cup playoff games that it has for its teams, no more Main Street sports groups. That leaves 13 NBA teams and 6 NHL clubs without a regional broadcaster once that is done. Now, the NBA is in the middle of a season still, so I don't know how that gets handled as their season doesn't end exactly at the same time as the NHL. But they're close enough that it's going to give them the offseason for all those teams to go and try to renegotiate new things. NBA would like to just bring everybody under one roof, the way the Major League Baseball has been doing.
So hypothetically, if you were FanDuel's #1 fan, what threads could you possibly follow in the diaspora after this? Like individual reporters sign up for their Substacks or
to do for what reason?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just wondering, like, we talk a lot about beginnings and entities coming together, but we don't cover the death of them very often and what happens afterwards. And this is one of those quiet.
I'll be honest. So what has happened with Major League Baseball? You'll notice I said 13 NBA, 6 NHL. There used to be Major League Baseball teams involved in this, and they're not. They are all now operated by Major League Baseball. The St. Louis Cardinals were on FanDuel Sports Midwest last season. This season, they are on MLB.TV. You just stream the games right on your app or on your smart TV or whatever. I think that's where you're going to go. So next year, when it's time to watch your hockey team, St. Louis Blues are one of the 6 NHL clubs that now don't have a regional broadcaster. There will be a new way, and it'll probably be some streaming outlet. There are some NHL clubs that use a service to provide their streaming. I'm guessing a lot of these clubs will probably sign up with them. There may be something new comes along. The NBA teams, I'm guessing, are going to move into the NBA app and do it that way. And honestly, that's all you'll need. That's all people wanted these regional sports networks for is I want to watch the pregame, the game, and the postgame. And those are all surviving in other places.
Yeah.
All right. Hold, please, for the chatter.
You've got mail.
I really, really liked this first email. It comes from Ander, who writes, "Hey guys, in After Talk, you asked for shows that had bridge episodes. So we're actually going to do Full Experience of Magnum P.I. and Murder, She Wrote and use their bridge episodes as kind of a special connector bit between them." Ander says, "That made me think of the highly related category of TV shows that have episodes that are clearly pilot episodes for a different show. These are often called backdoor pilots. I know NCIS did this a lot, and so did CSI. You could also do shows like Cheers and Frasier, or Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I'm sure there are TV shows where there are spin-off that is more acclaimed or more highly regarded than the show it came from. That might be an interesting thing to explore. Thanks for accompanying me on my daily drive."
Yeah, dude. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, NCIS was an outshoot of JAG. Jag.
Yes.
And likewise, the Jeffersons spun out of All in the Family, and Happy Days.
Happy Days came out of Love American Style and then gave birth to Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy, and Joni Loves Chachi.
That's amazing.
Yeah. There's a bunch of these. Facts of Life, Different Strokes, so many of these. Good stuff. Thanks everybody for sending those in. Andrew writes, this is how I want AI used in movies and TV. Okay. Have a tool train on Murder, She Wrote, then have that AI edit each episode. So it turns out that Jessica, Angela Lansbury, is actually the murderer. Maybe sometimes she gets away with it. Other times she is caught. I think an AI editing older movies and TV shows like this could be interesting. I don't really want to see AI, CGI replacing people in new movies. For example, Leia and Tarkin in Rogue One.
I love this idea. I love, as you know, I have a soft spot for mashups and for remixes and for crazy covers that bend the point of the original. I love this. This is another thing a VJ should do.
Yeah. And if we had, as most studies have found, a 14-year-long copyright, 14 years is often considered to be the optimal level to keep people motivated to create new things and profit from them, but not depress that remix market, which is what we have now with our 99-year copyright. Remixes are almost zero, right? Murder, She Wrote would be in the public domain in a world like that, and you could just do it, right? You wouldn't need anybody's approval.
It'd be great.
Tom, Brian, and Amos. You mentioned AI and media in the same sentence. I assumed it was bait. So here I am, Andy Beach. Michael's question was a good one, and you gave it 2 sentences and a door, and I want to try and give it a little more room.
Okay, in our defense, before we get to the rest of this, it was at the end of the show, and it was
at the end of the show. And I think Andy
email.
acknowledges that.
Yeah.
Andy says, the human analogy actually works fine on the input side. Nobody serious is arguing that AI shouldn't be allowed to learn. The problem is what happens on the output side. And it's not really about verbatim reproduction. Courts are actually finding that it's not the main vector of harm. Tom's instinct that the bought the record thing matters is right, but I think it points somewhere bigger than where he got to take it in one sentence. Here's where I'd land. A singer who sounds like the Beatles competes in a market where the Beatles also compete. They might take some sales, but the Beatles are still in the game. A novelist who writes like Cormac McCarthy might sell a few thousand copies, yet McCarthy is still out there. An AI trained on everything McCarthy ever wrote can now produce McCarthy-adjacent prose on demand at zero marginal cost for anyone with a subscription. McCarthy's not in that market anymore in any meaningful economic sense beyond someone choosing to go with the heritage or OG McCarthy as a specialty item. And in the current model where he's displaced, he got nothing for being the raw material that made the new product possible. I think that's the real uproar. It's not philosophical, it's economic. Rights holders aren't arguing humans shouldn't be inspired by their work. They're arguing that when a company systematically ingests millions of works to build a commercial product worth billions and pays nothing to the people whose work made it possible, that's not inspiration, it's extraction. Can AI learn isn't the right question. The question is, who captures the value and how is compensation attributed when it does?
Yeah, everything new is old is new again. This is the same thing. So you take the Beatles, right? The Beatles are a particular flavor. They're uniquely the Beatles. They spawned a bunch of knockoffs of the Beatles. It does reduce market demand for the Beatles because there are now methadone Beatles that are possible, right? And that does, you could make a case that all of these imposters are materially harming the financial bottom line of the Beatles. Likewise, but a closer comp would be the markets of magic and comedy, because You can copyright the words of the joke. You can't copyright the gotcha flavor or the pacing or whatever, the observational style of humor or whatever. But what can happen is that simmering resentments over time can eventually become revealed in highly polarizing moments. For example, we saw that with Carlos Mencia when all of a sudden a supercut of all of these possibly pilfered jokes came out. And then all of a sudden you had somebody in the form of Joe Rogan going out in public about this is theft, this is the material harm. And in a case where it's a galvanized, clear picture, then you see action happen. All that's different about the AI picture is that that's all happening, just we're skipping straight to the highly polarizing, easy to process, that feels wrongness of being able to instantly spawn copycats without the permission of the creator. Objectively, I don't see much difference, but subjectively, I do acknowledge that it's highly polarized in this instance.
I'll push back a little on that because I think Andy's making a really good point, which is when you think of it as, well, the Beatles, if I create a discount Beatles, I'm competing with the Beatles and I'm damaging them. I'm taking it away. I think what Andy's saying, if I understand it right, is, but the Beatles are still an option, right? Your discount Beatles are in the same market. You can buy a CD, you can download a song and stream it, but you could also choose the Beatles. So is it undermining their market? Sure. But the Beatles can compete and say, well, we're the original Beatles, we're better, choose us when you stream on Spotify. In the world of chat, Cormac McCarthy, the Beatles, they're gone. You are just creating new Beatles tracks without the Beatles getting anything from it. So they're not there to compete. They're not there to say like, hey, but we're the original Beatles. Use us to create new Beatles tracks. It leaves them out altogether. And I would argue that that is the definition of transformative, which is one of the tests for fair use, which is why I do think that training your model on those works to produce this fits the current definition of fair use. But then I'll circle back to what you're saying is, but everybody thinks that's icky. And to Andy's point, it leaves the Beatles going like, okay, but you had to use my work to do it and I don't get anything out of it. It's like, well, yeah, that's why transformative is a fair use. You know, if I transform your product into something different that you're not competing with, by definition, that means I am not competing with you. And so it is, again, another test of fair use. If everybody agrees, yeah, I don't like that fair use allows that, I want to be paid for training, then I think we need a new law. That's where I get to the idea of like, okay, then if everybody agrees, or even a plurality of people agree, we want that to not be an exemption. We want that to not be a fair use. Then we need to agree that that is the new rule of the road, is like, yes, this is transformative. Yes, it is not competing with you in your own marketplace. However, if you train on somebody's work, you owe them for being able to do that.
Yeah. And 10, 15 years ago, Brian would be obsessed about who's right or wrong in the New York Times versus OpenAI case. Present tense, Brian, under the tutelage of older brother Tom, understands that from the moment that lawsuit was announced, really it's like, oh, this is the thing that'll cause us to have a discussion about possibly a version of RIA's automatic license or something.
Finally, John Flowers said, you asked if there was a tool that could be created to tell you your relative use of streaming services. How about your home internet router? At a minimum, a home router knows how much data transfers from a remote host over some period of time. This would be a good comparison only if you knew the relative bit rates are identical. Many routers already have a % of traffic over time period as statistics available on some web interface. However, it seems to me a simple modification of this statistic, duration of traffic, a magical spec I just made up, meaning how long were you actively pulling data from a known streaming service per month? Of course, this would only be valuable if your household is all subscribed together. If more than one subscriber is pulling data through the router, this can, of course, be calculated on a specific IP address. If you know little Johnny is watching Netflix on his laptop and mommy is watching Hulu on her iPad. Keep up the great work. I am always challenged to think outside the box when I listen to you. John, this is a great solution to that. Just use your router. I love it.
I love everything about this. And at first, the first thought I had was, man, 15 years ago, I had an off-the-shelf router that one of the features built into the BIOS of it was when you went to the admin page, it just would show you a flood of who's on what website at any time. And I don't know, for whatever reason, that wasn't a popular enough feature, and all the routers I got since then don't have it. And I'm certain there are tools if I had the time to invest in all that stuff. But then as I think about John's situation, I was like, oh man, if only I had all of the time or engineering expertise or could afford somebody to do all that. If only somebody could program really fast specific to my household. And then I realized 20 minutes, it'll be here. Exactly what you suggested.
You could just Claude code that this afternoon. Frankly.
Yeah.
Well, folks, our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We are live at twitch.tv/Night Attack, youtube.com/Martin Rogue, Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Pacific. I reckon we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
See you there.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like this thought. G. James B says Angela Lansbury would not just be a criminal, she'd be a serial killer.
Yeah.
So you could have Murder, She Wrote, the Dexter version.
Well, imagine, I mean, what a great remix artist. Like I would show up every Thursday if a likable personality I knew had crafted a new Murder, She Wrote out of other Murder, She Wrotes. And we, like, all of a sudden, so many things you don't know. It could get very spicy.
Jessica has a code.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. No, that'd be great. Are you ready for the full experience?
Indeed, I am.
Fantastic. Let me check in on. Do you recognize that whine?
That's my usual voice.
That's Artemis 2.
Oh,
You don't hear it, do you?
yeah, I don't think I hear it.
Yeah, never mind. Not your whine. You're not whining. You're great. All right. I'm ready for the full experience. Let's rock.
Ready.
Are we waiting for something?
I don't know. Are we all waiting for each other?
I think so.
Ryan, are you waiting for us and we're waiting for you?
I was waiting on y'all.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, to play the music, Ryan.
Yeah, no, we're ready. We're ready.
Welcome to the full experience. That is not a 3-hour tour. It's a 4-episode tour of an entire television series. We watched the first, ultimate, lowest, and last episodes to see if we get the full flavor of the entire run. And we are finishing up our watch of Mr. Show with season 4, episode 10, Patriotism, Pepper, and Professionalism, which first aired December 28th during Christmas break, 1998. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Dude, I think this might be a full experience first in that far and away, the last episode was the best, better than the highest rated one. It was from beginning to end. I thought every single sketch was a good, solid double or triple. There were no stinkers in it. We opened with the corporate retreat where we're doing a tailored, team building workshop.
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
We get the
Josh Fenderman was a little close to Senator Fetterman of today, but that's unintentional.
Oh, no. They were definitely riffing on Corey Feldman and in an unkind way. Although that sketch cracked me up because True Hollywood Factual Report, True Hollywood True Crime Story or whatever, they only had that one shot. And this is another half-remembered bit from the Mr. Show book. They only got that one shot of Josh Fenderman out in front of the nightclub with the extras there. And then they just reused it like 8 times and they slowed it down and then twisted. It got funnier each time for me. I thought that really...
The Josh bit was kind of boring to me. That was
really?
that was the low bit. and not all of it, but that was the low part. But then the couple where she learned Tex-Mex, and that was worse than all of the crazy things that he did. And in fact, I highlighted the phrase, the most people.
Yeah.
That definitely like brought it back up for me.
Yeah, so they're riffing on relative guilt on that. By the way, the Josh Fenderman one, the fact that it ends with him suing the Treasury Department, explaining that money will be exchanged. Warning, when you spend this dollar, it will no longer be yours.
And then they put the warnings on everything.
Yeah.
No, that was good. Did you like the Atari 2600 in the pizza sketch?
I did.
With paddles?
Well, and I love the fact that he did the Hollywood thing of just using not that equipment as the equipment, you know?
Yeah.
That was funny. And also, like always, Mr. Show was really good at giving you just an imaginary slice of a musician or of a pastiche, but then bothering to make it better than they have to. Like David Cross as Marilyn Manson doing Ba Ba Black Sheep, have you any hate? It was amazing.
Yeah. The clipboard guy bit got me. I thought that was genius.
Yeah.
The just, constantly going up and doing ridiculous things that a guy with a clipboard would do. And it's him that does all of them.
And then the goodbye sketch I thought was a solid one. I liked that it felt different going to film on that one. You could tell that there's a little more effort and time on there. I did like the fact that the payoff at the end was the guy's dead. They're lowering him into the grave. And somebody says, I never got to say goodbye. And the other guy paused. I did. A lot.
A lot. Yeah. And I don't know if that was intentionally the last sketch or not, but it certainly was a fitting end to the whole situation.
Yeah. Oh, well, and then they also have the corporate dudes when they take turns being offended. And when each person is offended, everyone else walks past the offense and says, and misinterprets their outrage. So the guys talk about they're filming, having sex with his wife. And then they walk past it where it's like, well, yeah, of course. Cause we had to, and then they assume he's upset about getting cut in on the profits or whatever. But this was also the third time that we got a peek at the level of production. So we've saw one, I think it was the lowest rated episode was in season 2, maybe? I don't know. But boy, that's a big crowd.
The lowest rated episode was season 4, episode 4, The Story of Everest.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Season 1, episode 3. That was the highest rated. Lowest was 103. It was the third episode of the entire run.
Okay, so yeah, the pilot was the smallest crowd. They very much looked like a coffee shop. And then they had a bigger crowd in the same place. But now we see them in a soundstage dressed up to look like that coffee shop.
Yeah.
And it starts feeling really, really big.
We never saw season 2 or 3. We only get season 1, first 3 episodes, and then season 4, episodes 4 and 10.
Yeah. Well, so let me know, Tom, am I alone in thinking that this was better than the highest rated one?
Well, I mean, if you're alone, it's only because I disagree with you. So there's only 2 of us. I think what this showed me is Mr. Show is a very even show. It clearly gets better in its 4th season. So 404 and 410 are definitely better than 101 and 103. And I would argue that 101 might be worse than 103, but they're pretty close. And so 404 and 410, if you work at it, you can persuade me that 410 is better than 404, but they're so close that I don't know if it's a meaningful distinction. They clearly were good at the beginning with some room for improvement, and then great at the end, with minor details here and there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Good show, good visit. I'm excited to move.
So
on.
Congratulations to David Cross and Bob Odenkirk. I know you've been waiting since the late 90s for this, but you did a good job.
Yeah. You know what? Who knows? Maybe it'll turn into something. That's a literal joke I stole from Mr. Show, where the guidance counselor does that to them live on stage.
Yeah, fantastic. Honestly, the only disappointing thing about doing Mr. Show for the full experience is I don't feel like I have as much to say about it as it deserves for how good it is, because it's so good.
Yeah. Well, I will say that a thing that I learned was how of the moment the humor was, because absent any of the, I get that, or it is like that, when these are all kind of old modalities, it was so good at revealing that, hey, have you ever noticed that TV is like this? You're like, oh my God, it is.
And maybe it isn't anymore, but we certainly remember it when it was. Okay. We are about to embark on one of our most ambitious full experiences yet. Next time we meet, we will be discussing the first episode of Magnum P.I., Season 1, Episode 1, Don't Eat the Snow in Hawaii. And as far as that goes, everything will be as you have come to know it with the full experience. We will watch the ultimate episode from Season 3, the lowest episode from Season 1, the last episode from Season 8. However, we will then move to something we've never done before, Brian. The bridge season. Because following Magnum P.I., we've already decided we are going to do Murder, She Wrote. And the reason we chose it is because in 1986, there was a crossover event between Magnum P.I. and Murder, She Wrote. Something that could only happen in a world where network television says, those two shows are highly rated on our network, we should have them cross over because murders happen in both of them. So our bridge episode full experience will be Season 7, Episode 8 of Magnum P.I., Novel Connection, and then Season 3, Episode 8 of Murder, She Wrote, Magnum on Ice. These are two parts of the same story, but as part of two different shows. Once we have gone from Magnum P.I. world seamlessly into Murder, She Wrote world, we will then exit into the Murder, She Wrote full experience and watch the first ultimate lowest last of Murder, She Wrote. We will end up spanning from 1980, December 11th, 1980, to March 19th, 1996.
And then we will wait with bated breath for the announcement that Angela Lansbury will return in Murder Wars, where all of the shared Magnum universe comes together.
We could only hope. They are talking about bringing back Murder, She Wrote, the way they did Matlock with a whole new cast and everything. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this. If you're like, wow, that was a lot. I get that there's a Magnum P.I. Murder, She Wrote thing going on. What am I watching next time? First episode of Magnum P.I. next time. Season 1, Episode 1. Don't Eat the Snow in Hawaii from December 11th, 1980. That is the next item on your full experience to-do list.
Ooh, James B points out that Simon & Simon also crossed over.
To Murder, She Wrote, or Magnum P.I.?
I assume Magnum P.I. That'd be interesting.
So hold that thought. We are already as complex as we need to be for this particular one. But that's good to know. If you are not a patron, that is actually your next assignment, is to become a patron at patreon.com/Cordkillers. So you can not only get the full experience episodes earlier, but also be able to hear the moment when we realized there was this magical crossover episode situation and construct this elaborate Rube Goldberg-like full experience event that we are embarking on next time. So become a patron to get all that. Patreon.com/Cordkillers. Talk to you next time.
Yeah. All right, beautiful people.